The following stories have been crafted for sleep. These stories are about stalkers. Let's begin. Story number 1. I first noticed him on a rainy Tuesday morning, standing across the platform at the Brixton station. Blue jacket, grey beanie, pale, restless eyes. He didn't blink much, he didn't smile. He just watched. At first I told myself I was imagining things. London is full of people. You can't make eye contact without catching someone's gaze. But when I switched lines the next day, deliberately, he was there again. Same blue jacket, same eyes, like frostbite. The first time he followed me home, I didn't see it. I felt it. That prickling at the back of your neck when you know you're being watched. I walked faster, weaving through the crowds, telling myself I was being paranoid. When I got home, my hand shook so badly that I fumbled with my keys. Inside my flat, I locked the door. I bolted it, chained it. Still, I barely slept. The next morning, something small but horrifying happened. My cat, Mocha, usually greeted me at the door when I woke up, but that day she was missing. I searched the flat frantically, calling her name. Finally I found her, shut inside the kitchen cabinet, yowling. A cabinet I never used. That's when I realised someone had been inside. I bought a cheap camera set from Amazon and rigged it up in my hallway and my living room. I didn't want to go to the police with nothing but a bad feeling. They'd just smile politely and tell me to be more careful. 2 nights later, the footage caught something. At 3:42 a.m, the hallway camera buzzed. There, clear as day, was the man in the blue jacket, trying my door handle, tugging it, testing it. I clamped my hand over my mouth to keep from screaming. The chain held, the lock held. He gave up after a minute and drifted away like a wraith. I immediately took the footage to the local police station. The officer on duty, an older woman with wary eyes, leaned forward and watched silently. "You did the right thing," she said finally. "We'll open an investigation." I wasn't reassured. Investigations took time. Stalkers didn't. The next few days were hell. I saw him everywhere. Across the street when I went to Tesco, on the opposite platform when I rode the tube. Once, horrifyingly, standing across from my building, pretending to check his phone. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating. Thomas, my neighbour, noticed. He was a freelance coder who worked odd hours and kept strange habits. One night he knocked on my door, holding 2 cups of tea. "You okay?" he asked without judgment. It all spilled out of me. The man, the door handle, the footage. Thomas listened, frowning. Then he leaned back and said, "All right, let's outsmart this bastard." We set up more cameras, visible ones and hidden ones. Thomas insisted I stay at his flat for a while. He had 2 locks, a security alarm, and a frankly enormous baseball bat by the door. I hesitated, then agreed. That night we saw him again on the cameras. This time he wasn't just testing the door. He slid something, a thin strip of plastic, into the lock, trying to pick it. My knees buckled watching it. If Thomas hadn't reinforced the door that afternoon, he might have succeeded. The police stepped up after that. They assigned a plainclothes officer to patrol the street at night. They even connected some dots. Other women in the area had reported similar incidents, though none of them had footage as clear as mine. Meanwhile, the man escalated. One morning I found a note slipped under my door. It was scrawled in frantic, jagged handwriting. You look so peaceful when you sleep. I just want to be close. Please don't make me wait any longer. I dry heaved over the sink after reading it. Thomas called the police immediately. The trap came together quicker than I thought. The officer suggested we let the man think I was still alone. I left a light on in my flat. I kept the blinds open slightly so he could see me moving around. In reality, Thomas and 2 officers waited with me, crouched, low and silent. At 2:18 a.m, the buzzer rang. No one moved. Then the door jiggled, softly at first, then harder. The chain rattled. The man muttered under his breath, low, rhythmic. I couldn't make out the words. I didn't want to. The officers waited until he took out tools from his pocket. The second he slid a shim into the lock, they burst out the stairwell, pinning him to the ground. He screamed, high and shrill, nothing human, thrashed like a trapped animal. The officer cuffed him. The other peeled a crowbar and duct tape out of his backpack. I sat on the floor, shaking uncontrollably as they led him away. Later I found out he was a known offender. Multiple restraint orders, short stints in jail, but never enough to really lock him up long term. This time, with the footage, the evidence, and the tools he carried, they got him on attempted burglary, stalking, and intent to harm. He'd serve real time. I moved 2 months later, farther out into the country, a place with gates, security cameras, and good neighbours. Thomas helped me pick the flat. He even built me a custom security system. Better than Fort Knox, he joked. I still catch myself checking the locks 3, 4, 5 times before bed. I still flinch when I see the blue jacket in a crowd. But I'm alive. I'm safe. And now, when I ride the tube, I don't look away. I watch everyone, just in case. Story number 2. When you move to Tokyo, you expect a little culture shock. What I didn't expect was to meet someone who would turn my life into a walking nightmare. It started at the gym, an upscale one in Shibuya, sleek floors, K-pop blasting from hidden speakers. I was an English teacher, fresh out of university, still a little naive. That's where I noticed him. Sleek black hair, muscular build, endless stares. At first, I chalked it up to curiosity. Foreigners stand out here, after all. But when I switched my schedule to early mornings, he started showing up then, too. When I moved my workouts to weekends, there he was, always silent, always watching. The first message came 3 weeks later, an anonymous Instagram account, no profile photo, no followers. You are beautiful. I want to be close to you. I laughed it off, showing it to a friend. Oh, some creep, she said. Ignore it. I tried. It got worse. One night after a late dinner with co-workers, I found a sticky note on my apartment door. You shouldn't stay out so late. It's dangerous. My stomach dropped. I lived in a secure building. You needed a key card just to get to my floor. Panicked, I asked the building manager to check the security cameras. He shrugged, said they were under maintenance. Typical. A few days later, I noticed strange things inside my flat. A pen on my desk moved. Kitchen cabinet slightly ajar. My toothbrush wet, and I hadn't even used it. I installed hidden cameras the next day, small ones tucked behind books, above the microwave, blending into the clutter. That night, reviewing the footage, I saw him. He wore gloves. He knew exactly where the cameras were. He never looked up, never lingered in one spot, but he was there, rifling through my clothes, touching my bed, and breathing deeply. I called the police immediately. They filed a report, told me to be cautious, and that was it. Then he started hacking me. I'd get texts from unknown numbers, photos of myself leaving work, and messages like, "That blue shirt looks good on you." Sometimes my phone would buzz at 2 a.m, displaying nothing but my own address. I changed numbers. It didn't help. He'd make fake accounts pretending to be old friends, co-workers, and even ex-boyfriends, trying to lure me into responding. He knew names only people close to me would know. He knew details about my life I'd never posted publicly. I stopped going out. I changed my commute daily, but Tokyo is a city of millions, easy to vanish into, easy to hide inside. Everywhere I went, I felt him there, breathing down my neck, just outside my peripheral vision. One night, things exploded. I came home from work, exhausted, craving nothing but instant ramen and bad TV. Instead, I found my door slightly open. Inside, my apartment was wrecked. Drawers yanked out, clothes shredded, my laptop smashed into bits. On the wall, written in black marker, "Mine." I backed out, heart hammering, and ran straight to the Koban, the neighbourhood police box. This time they listened. I showed them the footage, the messages, everything. Within hours they connected the dots. My stalker was a man named Hiroshi, a gym employee, fired months ago for inappropriate behaviour towards female patrons. No one had warned the new members, like me. Turns out he was brilliant with tech, hacking, spoofing, and surveillance. He'd been living in an abandoned building 2 blocks from me. No electricity, no water, just a mattress, a dozen burner phones, and walls covered in photos of me. The police hatched a plan. I agreed, reluctantly, to act as bait. I posted on Instagram, made it look like I was moving away. Last day in Tokyo, one last night alone. I booked a cheap hotel in Shinjuku, close enough to the station for easy escape, crowded enough to attract witnesses. I checked in under a fake name, and I waited. It didn't take long. Around midnight there was a knock, 3 soft taps. I froze. He tried the handle, locked. I heard him muttering, fast, frantic. Seconds later I heard a scritch, the unmistakable sound of someone picking the lock. I texted the code word to the officers waiting in the adjacent room. Now. Within seconds the door burst open, not by him, but by police. Hiroshi didn't go quietly. He fought, bit one officer, screamed bloody murder, but they cuffed him, dragged him away, and just like that, it was over. Afterward, They found more evidence. Photos, recordings, even a copy of my apartment key. The sickest part? He thought we were in love. He thought he was rescuing me from a lonely life. I moved to a different district. New job, new number, new everything. I still glance over my shoulder sometimes. I still flinch when I hear soft taps at my door. But I survived. I fought back. And Hiroshi? He'll be behind bars for a long, long time. Story number 3. It started at the coffee shop. A new barista. Short brown hair, nervous smile, fumbled my order. I laughed it off, made some polite small talk, and left. Big mistake. Her name was Maya. At first she was just there, every time I stopped by. Then I started seeing her elsewhere, outside my gym, at the bus stop near my apartment. Coincidence, I told myself, until the whispering started. At night, outside my window, I'd hear it, soft, crooning murmurs, my name, over and over. Peter, Peter. I lived on the 3rd floor. The first gift arrived 2 weeks later. A dead bird laid carefully on my doorstep. Its wings spread like it was mid-flight. Next came the wedding veil, crusted with what looked like old blood. I stopped going to the coffee shop, blocked unknown numbers, changed my routines. It didn't help. The worst was coming home to find the door unlocked. Inside, nothing stolen, but everything wrong. Furniture shifted, a pillow missing, my toothbrush broken in half. The police were polite, but very useless. No proof, they said. Maybe a prank. So I set up cameras. That night at 2:47 a.m, the footage caught her. Maya. Pale, wide-eyed, moving in that jerky way people do when they think they're alone. She knelt in front of my bed, whispering, "I love you, I love you," over and over. I barely made it to the bathroom before throwing up. I knew I had to act. With the help of my friend, Junaid, we staged my apartment. Lights off, windows cracked, looking empty. I stayed hidden, holding my phone, thumb ready over the emergency call. At 3:13 a.m, she came back, this time with a kitchen knife. She moved straight for the bed, expecting me to be there. When she saw the pillows lumped under the blankets, she started murmuring again, rocking back and forth. That's when I hit send. The police were there in minutes. They found notes in her backpack, hundreds of pages of fantasies, all about our life together. She was arrested for stalking, breaking and entering, and carrying a weapon. It took months to feel normal again. Therapy helped. So did moving to a new place, far from the coffee shop, far from those nights of whispers and fear. I still sleep with a bat under the bed, but at least now, when I wake up, it's to silence. Real, blessed silence. Story number 4. The first bouquet arrived at work. Bright marigolds, a card that read, "You light up my world." No name. At first I thought it was a secret admirer, sweet even, but the flowers kept coming, daily. Different colours, different cards. The notes grew more intense. You belong to me. I'm always close, watching, waiting. Then came the photos, tucked between the petals. Photos of me, sleeping, eating in my apartment. That's when the terror began. I filed a complaint with HR, begged for upgraded office security. They half-heartedly agreed, added a few cameras. I changed my locks, started checking behind me on the way home. It didn't help. One night, staying late to finish a project, I heard a voice behind me. You shouldn't stay here alone. I spun around. It was Rajesh, a quiet guy from accounting, always hovering, always smiling, a little too long. I laughed nervously, brushing it off. Big mistake. The threat started the next day. Handwritten notes slipped into my bag. If you won't choose me, I'll take you. I told my manager. She said not to make a scene, so I started collecting evidence myself. Screenshots, photographs, copies of every note. The night he tried to grab me, I was ready. I had set my phone to record. When Rajesh cornered me in an empty stairwell, hands reaching for me, I screamed, loud and sharp. Security guards heard. They tackled him to the ground. In his backpack, rope, a blindfold, another bouquet, crushed and wilted. Rajesh was charged with attempted abduction and stalking. I quit that job the next day. Started somewhere new, somewhere safe. The flowers stopped, but sometimes I still flinch when I smell marigolds in the air. Story number 5. The first sign was the missing chickens, gone one morning without a trace. No blood, no feathers, just missing. I thought maybe foxes. Then I found a barn door wide open, symbols carved deep in the wood. Circles, crosses, strange spirals. When I checked the security camera footage, I caught a flash of her. A woman in a ragged coat, barefoot, slipping through the shadows. Every night after, something new happened. Tools rearranged, livestock let loose. Once I woke to find all my porch furniture stacked in a towering, unstable sculpture. I called the local police. They said probably teenagers. They promised to swing by. They never caught her. One morning I found it, an effigy of myself, straw stuffed into my old clothes, hanging from a tree by the barn, swinging in the cold wind. I threw up in the grass. My neighbour Jim offered to help. We set traps, upgraded the cameras. Finally, one night, we caught her full body on footage, crouching in my field, whispering to herself, cutting her own arms with a piece of glass. The police took it seriously after that. When they found her, she was living in the abandoned well house near the edge of my land. Inside, pages and pages of notebooks about me, photos of me at the market, rituals meant to bind me to her. She was arrested and hospitalized for psychiatric evaluation. I still live on the farm, but now there are bigger fences, better cameras, and a shotgun by my bed. Peace has returned, but I'll never again mistake isolation for safety. Story number 6. Rome is supposed to feel romantic. The fountains, the sunsets, the winding cobblestone alleys. For me, it became a maze I couldn't escape. It started at the Colosseum. I was taking pictures when a man offered to show me around, free of charge. Charming, I thought. Friendly. His name was Matteo, or so he said. He showed me hidden corners, cheap gelato spots, even a tucked-away church I'd have missed otherwise. We exchanged numbers. Big mistake. At first it was innocent. Let's grab a drink. You still in the city? Then it grew darker. Why didn't you answer? I saw you in the city. You were there with someone. I hadn't seen him, but he had seen me. Over the next few days, Matteo seemed to be everywhere. At cafes, outside museums, even once inside a tiny bookstore where I was sure no one had followed me. Each time he didn't approach, he just watched. I tried to confront him once. He smiled, wide and empty, and said, "You are my destiny." I started moving differently. Short walks, quick glances over my shoulder. But in Rome, the narrow streets feel like they are closing around you. You can vanish, or be trapped in seconds. One night, walking back to my Airbnb, I felt it, a shadow slipping behind me, quick and quiet. I sped up. So did he. I ducked into a crowded pizzeria, heart hammering. I watched through the window as Matteo circled the block, twice, before disappearing. I knew then he wasn't going to stop. The next morning I found a note slipped under my door. "Come with me or I'll take you anyway." That was enough. I went straight to the police. They were sceptical at first. A tourist, a flirty misunderstanding maybe. But when I showed them the note, the photos he'd texted without me realising, the video I caught him lurking near my window, they listened. We set a trap. I agreed to meet him at Piazza Navona, a wide open public square, easy for police to observe. When Matteo appeared, he had a black duffel bag slung low over his shoulder. He kept scanning the crowd, agitated and twitchy. When he spotted me, he broke into a run, straight towards me. I didn't have to act. Undercover officers tackled him mid-sprint. Inside his bag was duct tape, zip ties, and a knife. Turns out Matteo wasn't even his real name. He had a record. Assault, kidnapping, stalking, scattered across several European countries. This was just his latest hunt. I stayed long enough to press charges, long enough to testify. When I finally flew home, it was with a scarred heart, but still beating, still free. Rome is still beautiful, but now when I dream of it, it's never the sunlight I remember. It's the shadows. That's all for this evening. Sweet dreams.